So, can you wear a hat with the one horn? Sure I can, but certain designs don't suit me too well. Lance speaks in a deadly serious voice. Wanna kinda smoosh that cat. Smoosh it in a good way. Hey, wait. Mind if I bend your ear about something? Anivia is outside your room, leaning casually against the shelf. So here's the first, and the most important thing. Beth gave you a crucial mission. I get that. And I know you'll get the job done. I saw you in action. But here's the rub. By sending you out on an errand, we're weakening our defenses here. If they come at us while you're gone, I don't know if we'll be able to fight them off. Everything seems clear so far. What else do you wish to discuss? So, the rift that the damn beetle left with its scythe. Yeah, well, it cut the city into two, and it's kind of difficult to get across. My scouts tell me there's a halfway decent place to set up a crossing in the market square. Not that any of them tried it to make it sure, but if you've got a mind to go across, and I think you're going to have to eventually, you might want to give the square a once-over. When do you think the demons will attack? Well, your guess is as good as mine. It might not be here. They could attack the whole damn city. Those vermin know they've lost the upper hand and that we're going to push back hard. If things kick off here, you should know. After they attack, some things could be changed beyond recognition. So, if you've got any business that needs taken care of, you better do it soon. Do you want me to stay here and guard the tavern? You know what? No, your task is far too important. You can't just hole up here all cozy-like, waiting for the demons to knock on the door. We need to take the fight to them. But if those freaks try to make a move on this place, Beth will send a runner to get you. If that happens, you leg it back here, alright? Because if you don't, you're coming back to an ash pile, got it? Thanks for the warning. I'll see you later. There's the cat so meowing, and I'm like, oh. Anyway, this dude here. Here, take this. Yes, it's 2,000 coins. Take your payment and remember that Hogwarts Grworm always keeps his word. You helped me get back to the surface, and I duly paid you for escorting me. Now, speaking of our future cooperation. Hogwarts looks at you with an unvarnished disapproval, his arms folded across his chest, his foot tapping impatiently. I have a job that would be perfect for someone like you. Naturally, I'll pay generously for your service. What do you mean, a job for someone like me? For an adventurer ready to sell their souls for booze and then lie down drunk in a gutter. Or do you think you're somehow different? Traveling knight, perhaps, noble or hot, but without coin to your name. Horgoth sizes you up critically, and then sighs and shrugs. Oh, you seem reliable enough ally to me, and you did get me out of the mongrel cave, so why should I care what you do with my money once you've got it? Oh, we failed. Holger seems like one of those people who think the entire world owes them something. A noble birth doesn't give you the right to behave so badly. I would ask that you refrain from such statements in the future. Hogwarts puts his hand on his hips. Oh, really? How impudent! No one dares tell Hogwarts Grworm how to address the rabble. So what does this job involve? You shall be my bodyguard. You see, I have good reason to return to my mansion here in Canobris. I still have... Well, it doesn't matter. It's none of your business. My mansion is a breathtaking building with large gardens in a wealthy part of the city. And even before the demons attacked, every fief and fraudster in the city had tried to get inside. One way or another, I shudder to imagine what state it is in now. I have little hope that my guards were able to hold the mansion during the attack, and I expect that servants fled there when they saw the demons. Only Abadar knows what happened there since. Therefore, I would ask that you meet me at my mansion and guard me there until I have completed my business. I already asked the local paladins for help, but they have no desire to set foot outside this tavern. Damn cowards and traitors, that's what they are! Also, please do take Camellia with you. I trust that girl more than the rest of your gang. She's of noble birth, after all. And what kind of reward are we talking about? 1,000 gold coins, Hogwarts replies without hesitation. We shall diplomacy and try. Double the reward and I'll think about it. Ah, we failed. Yeah, right. For that kind of money, I could hire Queen Galfrey herself to guard me. 1,000 is my final offer. Marvellous, marvellous, most excellent. Hogwarts' face relaxes, soothing a few of the tense lines. I'll proceed to my mansion at once and wait for you there. Meanwhile, you needn't worry, I know the city like the back of my hand. But do hurry, unless you want me to lower your reward. Wait, what is that at the back of my hand? Huh? Camellia looks you over pensively, toying with the snake-shaped bone amulet that dangles from her pale neck. Noticing your glance, she flashes with a cold, barely there smile. Greetings. It seems for a moment that she wants to say something else, but the pause grows too long, and she slips back into a cautious silence. Tell me about yourself. You want to know more about me than you already do? Why? Camellia arches a dainty brow. I talk to the spirits of this tormented land, and they guide me in battle. I'll help you fight the demons, but I swear that you can rely on me in this matter. Isn't that sufficient? Well, where did you learn to wield the rapier so well? I had a good teachers, although they don't get all the credit. I am most diligent student. Camellia licks her parched lips. Your amulet is quite unusual. Where did you get it? My little trinket. It's so nice of you to notice. But I assure you, this amulet is nothing but a bauble. Can a lady not be drawn to beautiful, useless things? You're much more relaxed during combat. Your battle cries are uninhibited. She blushes slightly and lowers her eyes. Oh, so you've noticed. To be honest, I find it embarrassing. You see, being a shaman means having spirits of battle as my ever-present companions. In the heat of battle, they become rather, vocal. Anyway, as much as I enjoy our delightful conversation, the spirits are calling me, and I must respond. Please excuse me. Camellia turns away, watching you out of the corner of her eye. Okay. We'll talk to him in a minute. We'll talk to him in a minute. It's Anivia. Anivia is... Start that again. Anivia, in her muted colours, blends almost perfectly into the background. She appears relaxed, but her seemingly unfocused eyes are taking in everything around her, tracking and filtering potential threats. The only tell is the way she drums her fingers on her hips near her weapon sheath. She shows no signs of injuries and confidently leans on her previously broken leg. She pretends to have just noticed you, even though she watched you approach from afar. Oh, hey! See how they patched me up? Now I can run, jump, or dance a jig if I feel like it. Are there any suspicious places in the city that I should pay attention to? Well, considering the entire city is kind of in chaos with demons and cultists everywhere, I'm gonna say everywhere. There were a couple of spots I wanted to check out, but I didn't have time. If there really is a den of cultists there, it would be good if you could swoop in there and bust some heads. You don't even need a search warrant, and Avia shoots you a crooked smile. First one is the Silken Thread. It's a funny little tailor shop that doesn't take any orders and never buys any fabrics. But they always seem, so busy. They're busy with something in there, alright, but sewing, it ain't. Second, one is the alchemy shop. Topaz Solutions. And they trade in everything. Not just healing potions. Judging by the ingredients they've been buying on the black market, there's something fishy about the alchemical rituals going down in that place. Tell me about yourself. She shrugs with a lazy smile. I'd be happy to, but there's kind of nothing to tell you. What's so interesting about me? Oh, where are you from? Nowhere. I was blown in by the wind and found in a cabbage patch. She stopped short. Sorry, that's an old habit of mine. I don't like blabbering about my past, but you saved my skin, so I guess I kind of owe it to you. Not the clown around, right? I'm from Nidal, and I wouldn't wish my homeland on my worst enemy. You've heard of the place, I'm sure. Ruled by monsters that aren't alive nor dead, and the official religion is the cult of the Zon Kuthron. I grew up in the slums like a weed between the cobblestones. I didn't have a dad, but I had lots of aunts and uncles, my mom's cronies. No prize for guessing the kind of business she was involved in. They gave me a set of lockpicks as soon as I could hold a spoon, and while other kids were picking their noses, I was picking pockets. And when I was 12, the monks of the Silent Shroud came for us. Creepy guys with their mouths sewn shut. Their guards in Nisrock. Mum gave me to her friends, and we hid in a secret temple of Desna. I never saw my mum again. I lay low in the temple for the next few years and kept my head down. I washed floors, fetched water, listened to sermons. Funny thing, after a while I started liking Desna's teaching. But as soon as I was old enough, I was out of there. I left Nadal and got as far away as I could. Quite a ragtag group you've got here. From nobles to street thieves. Got that right. The only best for you. What do you do if the knights and nobles fail to save the world? The lowlifes are your only hope. How did you meet Irabeth? I was bumming around Timon a while back doing this and that, and Desnan Temple sometimes gave me the odd jobs. You know, sometimes they needed people with skills like mine. On the surface, it was fine, I guess. And after Nadal, the freedom of the River Kingdom should have seemed like heaven. A chance to sit back and enjoy life. But I wasn't happy. There just wasn't any joy in my new life. I was all alone. No one cared about me, and I didn't care about anybody either. I struggled to find a reason to drag myself out of bed every morning, trying to stone around my neck, and jumping into the nearest river started to look pretty appealing. One day, I was hired to follow some fellows into a local authorities, suspected that there was Mirian spies. I was stupid. I made a rookie mistake, and they caught me. It's like my body had already decided to do what my mind had been fighting, to finally put me out of my misery. Get someone else to kill me, since I didn't have the guts to do it myself. They grabbed me, and I thought they'd gut me on the spot, but instead they hog-tied me and dragged me off, and just like an animal going to slaughter, my only thought was, let's get this over with. They brought me to their stinking cave, threw me on their altar, and I realized who it was, the Kufites from Nidal. They tracked me down after all those years, but I didn't care anymore. Wouldn't even have cared if they'd eaten me or whatever. We all gotta go sometime, right? So I was lying there, staring at those knives pointed at me, when fate rolled the dice and I hit jackpot. Irbeth, there she was, storming into the cave. Picture it. I'm lying on an altar, all these knife-wielding maniacs around me, and suddenly Irbeth storms in and thought it was Imode herself. Fierce in her shining armor, with her gleaming sword raised, she made quick work of those scumbags, chopped them up just like that. I didn't even have time to blink. She untied me, and then Anivia's face lights up as she chuckles. She looked through the papers they had on the table, and she started swearing like a sailor. So much for Imode. How did you and Irabeth end up in Kidderbrace? After almost becoming a human sacrifice, I knew I never wanted to leave Irabeth's side. Desna knows I fell for her instantly, and I fell hard. My misery was gone, and when Irabeth showed me what it was in those papers, proof that the cultists had a nest in her home city, well, I offered to help without a second thought. Nivea smiles warmly. She must have figured I couldn't wait to get my revenge on the cultists, but I didn't give a damn about them. It was her. I'd go anywhere with her, even on a crusade or into the jaws of a dragon. But I took to life in Canterbury like a duck to water. I used to be an outcast wherever I went, but half of the crusaders are the same. After all, who'd volunteer to tangle with demons on the edge of the abyss? You gotta be either a goody two-shoes with too much honor and free time, or a misfit with no life out in the normal world with normal people. People come here to run away from their debts, their pasts, from themselves, so I fit right in. What is it like living with Irabeth? It's like living. Without her, I wouldn't be. Seriously, if I were alone, I'd definitely be gone by now. Sure, sometimes we argue. I can't deny that. Sometimes we bang our fists on the table and yell so loud that the walls shake, but that's all about order business. But at home, well, I'll give you an example. I've kind of always wanted to move out of that broom closet we call a house and into somewhere cozier. It ain't like they take a vow of poverty at the Eagle Watch, but every month, somehow, most of our spare money is spent on crusader business. Sure, I get mad about it, but Anivia makes a helpless gesture. It's just part of why I love her so much. You know, Irabeth has this thing that matters most for people, a purpose in life. She's always got a reason for whatever she's doing. Her whole life is a crusade, and I just drifted around like a leaf in the wind until Desna brought us together. Now she's the meaning of my life, so it really makes no difference if we live in a mansion or under a bush. Thank you for your answers. Thanks for asking. Telling you all this kind of made me feel better. What are your responsibilities in the Eagle Watch? Anivia smiles evasively. Nothing official. Not even a knight, you know? I just hang around. Sure you want to know the details? Well, catching traitors and spies and cultists is no walk in the park. It's a delicate job. You can't always do it all within the letter of law. What if we surprise some suspicious blighter with an official search? Everyone will know about it before long, starting with their cronies. Again, sneaking into people's houses at night ain't exactly legal. Crusaders can't be doing stuff like that, can they? Well, I'm not exactly a knight, trails off. Well, I have to go. All right, well, you watch yourself now. Okay. Indra. I don't know who that is. An imposing young Ored is surrounded by a crowd of crusaders who are hanging on to her every word. I hope this example clearly illustrates the difference between the Giscla legionnaires from the last war and the crusaders. The perfection of form and spirit they were imbued with during creation turned them into parts of a well-balanced war machine, not a ragtag bunch of individuals, but a united whole. Now, tell me again, why I am supposed to be impressed by your reckless assaults, where everyone is fighting for their ego and for the right to beat their peers to a swift but pointless heroic sacrifice. Some of the crusaders grumble unhappily, but it is clear that they are captivated by the woman's words. The only exception is a scraggly and dishevelled halfling monk whose puffy black eye gives him away as a brawler and a troublemaker. He enthusiastically pushes forward and tries to engage, but one of his friends swiftly jabs him in the back with an elbow, making the poor fellow pause to catch his breath. Quiet listen to the discussion. One of the crusaders angrily curls his fist tightly and retorts with a burst of passion. If those gifts of yours or whatever had come for us, we'd have their guts for garters. You think we've never fought a mighty adversary before? The soldier's stern facade cannot fully conceal his relish. He clearly plans to enjoy this confrontation. The crusaders around him look upon their exotic opponent with a mixture of irritation and piqued interest. The woman chuckles before cutting off her interlocutor. I would love to see you storm a 60-foot-tall walking castle shaped like a gigantic elephant that carries siege fortifications on its back. And I'll have you know, these fortifications were defended by the Jiscan priest craftsmen armed with demon-bound war machines. They use their enemies. You cannot defeat a mindless weapon. The woman gives the people around her triumphant look and adjusts her clothes with a pointed nonchalance. Her voice takes on a lecturer's tone. You should not argue with someone who happens to be the most authoritative researcher of history of the warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of the Absalom. The woman looks at you and flashes an amused smile. The lecture is over. Do my esteemed listeners have any questions? Who are you? I am Idara, a warrior, a magus, a scholar of classical warfare from Garland. The woman peers at you apprehensively and then sighs. I admit that I am mildly offended by the fact that my name is entirely unfamiliar to you, but I am willing to accept that this is due to the artisan's isolation from the sophisticated culture of the world at large. Oh, but then you have come a long way to be here. I like to think of myself as an inhabitant of the Galarian, and I don't narrowly identify with any country in particular. Why did you come here? To witness a legendary war, the confrontation between denizens of a plain famous for its love of violence and crusaders from every continent united by one common goal of defending their home. An epic struggle of colossal proportions that hasn't been particularly epic so far, truth be told. The monk with the black eye grins and mutters under his breath. I love how it's called Pink Eye. And, well, maybe she just can't see it from here. The view will get way more epic if she stops hiding among us and takes a walk outside. The woman smirks contemplatively. She does not deem the monk's word worthy of comment. It looks like you know more about warfare than any of us. Oh? Am I hearing things, or did somebody finally acknowledge my competence in the art of warfare? Perhaps there is sufficiently open-minded person among the Crusaders after all. I find myself pleasantly surprised. Why don't you join the Crusaders and show them how fighting should be done? No. I am a historian, an analyst, a theorist. Do you know what these three words have in common? They describe a mortal woman who does not participate in conflict upon which her species will be founded. But then again, I will hardly be able to describe this mess as anything other than feeble likeness of the last war of Gistka. The monk with the damaged eye grins slyly and comments, It is more dangerous in the upcoming scuffle is. The more motivated we are to find clever and pretty words to justify not actually doing the fighting. What is this last war that you mentioned? The last war of Gistka, of course, a large-scale conflict that took place 3,000 years ago before the foundation of Absalom. It was a war against the Assyrian pharaoh of forgotten plagues, the war that ended the legendary Gisca Imperium, an epic struggle that became the most vibrant page in military history. Alas, all conflicts that followed it were but a pale shadow, including the one I am witnessing here. Why do you find the last war of Gisca so inspiring? Imagine legions of golems imbued with extraplanar spirits marching into battle. Imagine flying cities that swoop out of the clouds like terrifying monstrous birds of prey to drop forces on top of enemy castles. Picture gigantic mechanisms powered by captives and very angry demons and devils. Imagine standing in the warpath of walking citadels or having to cover your ears to block out the sun of cannons loaded with shrieking elementals. Finally, imagine the ultimate weapon that defeated Gisca, the deadly ninth plague. This affliction was an attack dog, a trained epidemic, a tamed pestilence, striking only those who its master wanted to kill. Imagine all these terrors and understand that no flight of fancy can even come close to the horror of nightmare that they made real. How do you know so much about the Gisca last war? I can say without false modesty that there is no more authoritative research in the Galorian when it comes to the history of warfare 3,000 years before the foundation of the Absalom. I have dedicated my whole life to this subject. I personally visited old battlefields and studied the most mysterious and forbidden archives containing chronicles of ancient wars, sometimes risking my life in the process. I saw a fallen sky city of Shorid Empire with my own eyes. I ripped out the control crystals from an exterminator-class combat golem but guarded a Gisca laboratory with my own hands. These fingers held the glass flask that the servants of the Pharaoh of the Forgotten Plagues used to create the first generation of pestilence that devastated Jiska Imperium. How do I know so much? I saw, I touched everything I am telling you about. You're wrong to treat the Crusaders with such disdain. Allow me to explain. A debate. Oh, I will be happy to prove that the current conflict can't hold a candle to the last war of Jiska. Very well. The last war of Jiska was waged using a significantly greater number of troops. Both sides actively relied on reinforcements from allied planes, and their strategic planning was perfected through no fewer than 7 rounds of intensive design. None of the above applies to this war of yours. Compared to Jiska, we are but stone club-wielding kobolds. I would like to conclude my thesis with a few words of wise counsel from Dagon, an advisor to the Pharaoh of Forgotten Plagues. I doubt you will comprehend the true genius of this statement, but here it is nevertheless. A gadfly sees the ox. The ox pays no heed to the gadfly, but the crimson fever takes them both. Ooh, what are we gonna do? We'll go diplomacy. Will we do diplomacy? Whatever one's bigger here. Hold on. 5. Okay, let's try this one. Please, please, please. Failed! God damn it! Said she, standing in the middle of the dingy tavern. Indara graciously accepts the chuckling of her audience. One mustn't overestimate the importance of current events from the world history. Should Keterbase fall, it will become yet another page in the chronicles of the world-wound conflict. Should it endure, it will be fortunate to earn any mention at all. The monk with the black eye stifles a giggle. Looks like he wants to say something, but ultimately holds himself back. The principles of war are always the same. Weapons, causes, and resources may change, but the foundations remain immutable. We succeeded. Adira's eyes displays frustration as she hears the audience. Clearly impressed by your argument, murmuring approval. There is logic in your words. I give you that. Yes, the concept of war does not change, but the degrees of sophistication in the methods that we use to destroy our foes. The woman stopped, realizing her words, no matter how ostentatious she makes them, no longer have the power to captivate the audience. In other words, war. War never changes. Indara offers a pretentious dismissal. As a scholar, I cannot deny that there are certain truths beneath your skeptical statements. History is a complex discipline rooted in the fact and evidentiary base that grows ever more meager the farther the described period is from the present moment. Of course, if I were to argue in bad faith, the way Crusaders embellish their tales of slaying is single Binmark, by adding a dozen balors, for example, I could win this debate. But I am above such things, and therefore I am forced to admit that your skepticism is not entirely without merit. Have you changed your mind about joining the Crusaders? I don't see the point. Your Crusaders appear to be quite confident in your skills. If nothing else, you have presented your arguments to me with extreme confidence. Indara unbuckles her sword belts and hands you the weapon. This is a worthy blade. It will be used not only for the strong, but also the wise. Ooh, Claw of Jitka! And this is where I bid you farewell. Before the end of the day, I was planning to observe how winged demons use pack tactics to drive their prey like herds to livestock. It is about time I got back to my research. A hint of a smile graces Adira's lips when she sees disappointment in the eyes of many crusaders around her. Stay safe. I feel like she's gonna... Where are you going? I feel like she's gonna be someone we're gonna battle wits with. What about Pink Eye? What you say? No? Pink Eye says nothing. Sela smiles at you warmly. Hey there! During that march through the dungeon, we never got the chance to exchange a proper greeting. It's high time I shake your hand. I'd also like to get to know more about you. Oh, of course, ask me anything. I'll answer honestly. Well, tell me about yourself. Where are you from? I'm a little bit from Geb, a little bit from Kerapes, but mostly from the Knights of Emodea. Emode. I was accepted and began my training at 14. Along to their ranks more than I belong to any other place. You've come to Mende by a long road, haven't you? A very long one. Sela looks at you cheerfully. A traveler is expected to have amusing stories. Unfortunately, I only have 3 tales of any interest, and I'd like to save them for our next feast. Otherwise, I won't have anything to show for myself when it's time to start bragging. And that just won't do. Especially since I'll win the night with my cautionary tale of the battle with the chupacabras. Can't tempt me with a story about fighting chupacabras and then not follow through. What are chupacabras anyway? Incredible, repulsive, magical beasts. Fast and dangerous. They can... Well, it looks like someone's fooled me into starting to tell. I guess now I'll have to tell the whole story. Picture a small town in the Quadira. Down in the dungeon, there's 2 murderers waiting to be executed. The gallows are already built for them, the ropes being bought, but sometimes life takes a surprising turn. Suddenly, a paladin of Amade appears in the doorway and offers the murderers a deal. If they go with her to fight some monsters, they'll live, and if they survive, that is. There's a big difference between imminent death and probable death, with a glimmer of hope. Wouldn't you say? So, here we are, traveling through the desert, me and my friend, the priestess of the Serenray, along with a little rat folk fellow who'd ask for our help, and the 2 cutthroats. We get to the rat folks' village and see their bodies lying around, all drained dry. We figured we'd have to fight vampires or something. That's how the little rat folk described the monsters who attacked their village. That's why we went in, all brazen-like. The sun was high and the vampires couldn't attack until dawn. But we never got a chance to look around. Black shadows, quick as wind, attacked us from all sides. Not vampires, but chupacabras. One of the lads we pulled from the gallows got killed right away. The second one ran for his life. That left me, the rat folk, and Kyra, that was the name of the priestess, and we all steeled ourselves for a fight for our lives. And just when we thought the end had come, with the chupacabras surrounding me like a pack of dogs around a bear, our rat folk friend wounded and down, and the teeth of the quickest of those blasted monsters clenched on Kyra's shoulders, right then, when all hope was lost, the other lad from the gallows suddenly comes running back. He kills the beast, attacking Kyra, and I'm sure you know what a turning point in the fight looks like. Well, this was it. A moment before we were lost, and a moment later we had it all back under control. The chupacabras dropped dead, one by one. The little rat folk is reunited with his family, who were all hiding in the basement. The priestess and I closed the eyes of that boy from the gallows who saved us. It was a shame he didn't survive the fight. May the gods keep his soul in its journey throughout the afterlife. That's a very good story. It could have died. He could have died in disgrace at the gallows, but instead he died a hero. And I'd fancy the stunt earned him some points at its final judgment. It's smart to remember our journey doesn't end in death. Had it not been for the mercy, Milos, that was his name, would be hanging from a noose, and me and Kyra and all the rat folk would be dead in that village. Someone told me that a kind of deed done by an unkind person is 100 times more precious. By the same token, an evil done by a noble soul is 100 times more horrifying. That's what I really wanted to say. The chupacabras were just a good starting point. What made you become a paladin of Emode? Sela's gaze sharpens momentarily, then she sighs. That's a serious question and a good one. You should ask it of your companions. But it's a long story, and to start with, 12 years ago, I was nothing like the person I am now. I roamed the streets of the Sulku with other homeless orphans. I stole, I fought, I was hired by sword for a bit. Not the proper origins of a paladin, is it? Back then, Sulku was a city of orphans, widows and widowers. Gnolls decimated the city regularly. My parents were among their victims. People heard about new deaths before they finished mourning their previous losses. One day, a group of knights of the Imade brought a glimmer of hope to the city, but while others saw them as saviors and protectors, I was busy pricing up their noble horses and their gleaming mithril armor, wondering just how much one of their pretty swords would fetch. A thief lives one day at a time, and that's what they say. I was the type that never thought to pass the next job. However, I was able to sneak into the knight's camp and steal one of their mithril helms. Thela pauses, her voice sad and measured. And I was right. Right there when Enola attacked the helm's owner. Natsumi was her name, and dealt a blow to her unprotected head. And no, like all those others she'd fiercely driven from the gates of Sulku, that one blow was fatal. But who was really to blame for her death? The Knoll attacker or the young thief named Sela? Life is cruel and full of chaos. Sometimes survival just comes down to luck. So that's how you see it. Sela looks at you with curiosity, but no hostility. I can't accept that point of view. If the story of my youth taught me anything, it's that we're all accountable for our actions. It's too easy to wave off responsibility if you use the cruelty of life as an excuse. But you were asking what brought me into the ranks of Imade's warriors. We all choose the paladin's path for our own reasons. Some are guided by nobility of spirit, some by the desire to fight injustice. I became who I am through penance and a debt unpaid. The day Asimi died protecting my city, I wanted to kill myself for the terrible guilt I felt. But then I realized it wouldn't make the world any better. And I decided that, instead, I'd try to take her place. I'd become who she had been and protect the innocence that she would no longer be able to protect. And what are the principles that paladins of Imode follow? Sela smiles. I'll tell you. I like to recite our code. It feels like I've said it 1,000 times, but it never gets old. There is strength in these words. And after a pause, she begins, her voice slow and meditative. I will learn the weight of my sword. Without my heart to guide it, it is worthless. My strength is not in my sword, but in my heart. If I lose my sword, I have lost the tool. If I betray my heart, I have died. I will have faith in the inheritor. I will channel her strength through my body. I will shine in her legion, and I will not tarnish her glory through base actions. I am the first into battle and the last to leave it. I will not be taken prisoner by my free will, and I will not surrender those under my command. I will never abandon my companion, though I will honor sacrifice freely given. I will guard the honor of my fellows, both thought and deed, and I will have faith in them. When in doubt, I may force my enemies to surrender, but I am responsible for their lives. I will never refuse a challenge from an equal. I will give honor to worthy enemies and contempt to the rest. I will suffer death before dishonor. I will be temperate in my actions and moderate in my behavior. I will strive to emulate Imade's perfection. Well, thank you. I think I've learned everything I wanted to know. Oh, I hope I didn't bore you. Ask me something else if you like. Irabeth said that your friend Jana Adori is missing. Do you know where we should look for her? Irabeth is worried about her fighters. I understand that. I wanted to look for Jana myself, so I didn't distract you. But since you're in this too, I could use some help. Jana and I met in Kenabres a few days ago, and it just hit it off. We went drinking together. We went to that unforgettable celebration together too, but we got separated in the crowd. So we should start looking from the main square. That's where I last saw her. Sela frowns. Jana's a good fighter. Even if she is green, she couldn't have become an Eldori. Otherwise, I hope that means she's alright. What do you think of what's going on in Kenabres? It's complete chaos. It's lucky we're here to handle it, right? Sela smiles brightly and then she gives you a worried look. Does the way I talk bother you? I know I can seem base, Many good people and our protector, Terendelev, died here in Kenabres. A paladin of Imade is expected to be properly respectful and solemn. But I prefer to face my troubles with a smile and a bit of common sense. Grief is a weapon they'll use against you, and it can undermine a warrior's spirit. It's better we hold off on grief until we've driven the last demon and cultist from this city. There is wisdom in the traditions of mourning, and one shouldn't reject them. All the more so if inappropriate merriment got offend other mourners. Many people's loved ones perished in Kenbrace. Thela sighs. You may be right. I should keep myself in check more. Better discipline, more self-control, qualities suited to a paladin. Is fighting demons all you want? Or are you looking for something more? How about covering myself in glory and becoming the hero of 100 ballads? Or at least a dozen, if they're lively ones. Thela's eyes shine cheerfully. Anyway, to be more serious, the area around the World Wound is the best place for a paladin who wishes to defend the weak and serve good. Being part of the crusade is a reward enough for me, but there is something that worries me. I don't want to sound like I'm criticizing my brothers in arms, but the Eagle Watch and the other orders are focused on just one aim: the war against the World Wound. That's why they can sometimes overlook the smaller things, ordinary misfortunes, you know? I always liked being a wandering knight because at any moment I could get up and go help a poor rat folk whose family had been kidnapped, or an old woman whose favorite dog had gone missing. So here's my answer. I don't have some big important goal. I'll be happy to help those who need it. A little bit here and a little bit here. Thank you for speaking with me. Until next time. See you. I don't know if we can talk to these people. Have we anyone else to speak to? I'm looking... that's right. I'm looking for... Oh, wait. There's a room. Who the... Journal? A young man in a well-worn traveling clothes and a simple wooden symbol of Aristil on his chest is efficiently cutting a linen robe into strips to use as bandages. Despite his visible exhaustion, he works with zeal and sings some tune about red braids and ripe sheaves of wheat under his breath. He raises the warm chestnut-coloured eyes to you. Are you one of the Crusaders? Thank you for defending those of us whose talents lie off the battlefield. I am Jerna, servant of Aristil. Pleased to meet you. What are you doing? Oh, I only took my holy orders recently, so my god has only bestowed a little of his power upon me as yet. I'm sorry to say that the number of the wounded fighters in this tavern is far beyond my power to heal. But there's reason people say, have faith in the gods, but look to yourself first. I may not be able to help the wounded with magic, but at least I can cut up bandages. Are you from around here? No, I was just passing through Kennebrace. I was sailing down the old man of ours, the great Selin River, to a village by the name of Chili Creek. I happened to land in the city on the eve of the festival, and I'm ashamed to say I decided to stay for a day or two to enjoy myself. But I ended up staying in the city longer than I had bargained for. Chili Creek? Where is that? Oh, it's a small fishing village. It's not even marked on some maps, but people do live there. And they don't have a priest. They have no one to heal their wounds, no one to offer prayers for the good catch, no one to give their dead a dignified burial. And the World Wound is a stone's throw away, so I'll be setting sail for Chili Creek to serve my god and my people. Once we've held Kennebrace, I'll be going there. And if by grace of good gods we all survive this, you should come and visit me sometime. You'll find a village here, on the bank of the river. The priest marks the Chili Creek on your map. Aren't you a young and inexperienced cleric, afraid to go to the border of the World Wound? I won't lie. I'm afraid, but what can I do? Those villagers are simple people. Every day of their short lives is spent doing hard, honest work. That's exactly the kind of life I want. Something simple but meaningful. If I had centuries ahead of me like elves do, I might have spared some 50 years or so to travel around the world, the young man says with a smile. Or maybe even 100. Why not? But I don't have time to spare, so I want to spend my short life in a place where I'm needed the most. Even if it's dangerous. Especially if it's dangerous. I could use help of the cleric. Jonah makes a helpless gesture. Harris still knows I'd be glad to help you, but it's no use. My spells are depleted, and I have no training in potions or scrolls. See this robe I'm cutting up for bandages? It's the second to last one. Well, then I have to go. You're useless to me. May Harris still watch over you? Right, he must be down here, to the basement. Do you know what? He has to be in the basement. We're looking for Lan. Lan has to be in the basement. Oh, who's this? Okay, Lan is not in the basement. Surrender my soul, Delvin. Imitate, protect us. Why am I down here on my own? Got you again. How many times is that today? Take your jokes and shove them, tiefling. Oh, easy there, Chief. Don't hit me. I'm going to talk to you. You seem interesting.
Hey, Chief! Ooh, hey, gorgeous. Come over here. I want to talk to you about something. Something really important.
Quit bothering the decent people in here, Woljif, or I'll knock your teeth out!
What's it to you, Delvin Dum-Dum? You were told to guard me, and I'm not stopping you. But no one told me I had to shut my trap.
And who are you?
Woljif. Woljif Jefto. I deal in useful things. I can get you whatever you want. Anything. But there's just one problem.
The tiefling rattles his chains and gives you a meaningful look. What do you want from me?
I'll lay it out for you. Simple job, 30 minutes tops. We go someplace, talk to someone, and in return, whatever you want, I'll get it for you. Some extra rations? No problem. Armor, weapons, scrolls, you name it. It's as good as yours. If you need my help with something, whistle and I'll be there. I'm handy enough with knives too, and even my magic know-how isn't too shabby.
Okay, but there's a thing, you're locked up.
What a load of guff! If you were good at magic, you wouldn't be stuck in here now, would you?
Don't you listen to him, Chief. He'd find fault with the Queen herself. I'll be useful to have in battle, and I'll sell whatever you want at a reasonable price. It's your lucky day. You won't meet another gem like me in Canabras.
And why are you in chains?
Does it really matter? Don't get hung up on the past, Chief. Don't look to the future. Live in the here and now.
Oh, I'm a sucker for jolly, pretty tieflings.
He was caught thieving.
You're shadowed. What was that?
Get me out of here and I'll tell you. And don't worry, it's not contagious.
I can't help you while you're chained up here. How can I free you?
That's easy. You know Irabeth? Feisty looking gal, always wears armor. You can't miss her. She's the meanest fighter in the whole city. When you see her, put in a good word for me, will ya? Tell her there's this guy Woljif locked up for no good reason in the Defender's Heart. Well, for the follies of his youth. And he really wants to get out on bail so he can keep up his good behavior and make a contribution to society. You got that?
I think I love him. I think I'm in love with him. All right, I'll talk to Rebecca about your situation.
I knew I could count on you. Knew it the moment I laid eyes on you.
We'll talk later. And I'm going to speak to Delvin. Alright, let's go. Wait, there's no loot. Loot! Yeah. I would like the shop. Like, I really would. Right, that takes us outside, but... Oh, what's it? Oh, what's this? What's that one? Slimy skin! Yummy. Okay, there's 3 of them. What about we do it this way? Nothing's happening. I don't know what thing's meant to be happening. I have no idea. I can't find Lan. I have lost Lan. A tall, fragile-looking elf sits in front of you, eyes closed. He is pale as a ghost, his arm wrapped in a blood-stained bandage, and you spot other bandages on his body under his clothes. But even in such a miserable state, he manages to keep calm. Raising his eyes to meet yours, he faintly says, "I am Thorn Autumnhaze, at your service." His pale lips are reddened by blood, but you see no sign of pain or fear in his grey eyes. "Do you need help?" After giving you a cold, intense look, he shakes his head. "Do not trouble yourself on my behalf. A local healer tended to me. Besides, I come from resilient, hardy people. My body will endure both the wounds and the poison delivered through them." "Who are you?" "My name is Thorn Autumnhaze. I've come here from Kyonin because I am a hunter, and all minions and evil are my quarry. I won't say more than that. If you don't mind, we are strangers, and of different races and cultures. I'd rather not tell you more than is necessary." "Who wounded you?" "A sinner, and an accomplice to demons. The quarry I am hunting in this hospital place. I am Titania von Shire II. You can trust me. I might be able to help you." After a brief pause, Thorn says, "It would be impolite to refuse such a direct and friendly offer. Who is your quarry here in Mendev?" "I was hunting a fugitive, a Descarite by the name of Kaelissa. It pains me to admit that there are heinous malefactors such as her among my noble kind. I managed to catch up to her in Kennebrace, and I wounded her. Then demons appeared, and the city was engulfed in flames. I was injured in battle that ensued, and couldn't free her soul from the service to the Dark Masters." He expresses no anger or hatred as he speaks, only compassionate sorrow. "I am sorry for your misfortune. I hope things turn out differently next time." He purses his lips. "There is no need for pity. Our ancient kind is blessed with great longevity. We gain a deeper understanding of the world than other races, and we learn our lessons better than anyone. That goes for learning from our mistakes as well. I survived, which means I will be more prepared when the next time we meet. I wish to aid you in your hunt." Thorn covers his eyes wearily. "I thank you, but this is my mission, and I'm used to facing all manners of terrors on my own. I do appreciate your willingness to help. If you happen to meet Kaelissa, take caution. She has turned many innocent souls to the path of evil, and darkness has rewarded her with many gifts. Her appearances alone will tell you that. It is warped. The agate skin, the malicious stare of her blood-red eyes, and the bestial teeth. She is more a monster than an elf at this point." "What does Kaelissa look like again?" "Ah! Her skin is dark, her hair perpetually white. Her red eyes can see perfectly in the dark, which, to my dismay, I have come to know from experience. But bright light causes her kind of pain. I used an alchemical powder that explodes in dazzling flash, and she cried out as if I had stabbed her. It's clear that this woman is faithful servant of darkness. The marks on Kalis's masters have left on her appearance says much. I'd like to know more about you. I won't hold anything back. Not who I am, why I made my way here, or who it is that I am pursuing. Tell me more about yourself. Other people tend to believe that identity is the sum of a person's actions and events that happen to them. For them, I am one of the long line of warriors of the Kyonin, who since his youth has dedicated himself to hunting evil and injustice. For them, I am successful and capable huntsman who has tracked down and slain many great monsters. But I am an elf, and for me, my identity has a different meaning. It is shaped by the place where I was born, and that I love so deeply. I am shaped by what I find beautiful and what makes my heart quicken, by the fear that comes to me in the dead of night, by the things I find so intolerable that at sight of them my very core darkens and fills with poison. Thus, to tell you who I am, I would require many days and much candor, which is more than you and I have at our disposal. Why did you choose to be a hunter of the evil? Because I am the son of a noble and proud nation. We are sometimes criticized for our arrogance, but no one dares doubt our honor. When a crime is committed, we cannot turn a blind eye. If we were to abandon our obligations to oppose evil, if we were to surrender this obligation to other races, we will also relinquish our preeminence. I don't need that. I don't need the refresh. I have no more. Okay, I'd like to leave you to it. Good fortune to you. I can't find land. A strange figure towers over the bar, a huge, ungainly man with skin so milky white that his blue veins are visible even from a distance. His bald head is equal parts lumpy and pitted, and blood-filled eyes staring passively out at you from beneath his pale brows. The glass in the albino's large, clumsy hands looks dangerously delicate, as if some twitch of those calloused fingers would be enough to crush it. A gold medallion engraved with a tankard gleams around his neck. What'll it be? The medallion you're wearing. That's a sacred symbol, isn't it? Are you a cleric of the Caden Kellion? I'm a tavern keeper. Best in the city. Best there's ever been, and I pray to the best god there is. Oh, show me what you have. Can we get rid of some of this stuff now? I don't know. I'm just going to kind of... Can I do, like... Oh, no, I can't just bulk selling. Oh, that works. Okay. Let's get some of this. I'm going to keep... Most of this stuff's junk. Said most of it. Okay. We have 37 potions. So I could take one of those. Oh, they are expensive gloves. Unaffected by target spell resistance. Ooh, dark. Ooh, that is expensive. Wait, how much money do we have? Not that much. Okay. Right, I think I want that. Do I... Okay. I was just wondering if I should get, like, some of the... Drink from this mug gives the character +2 bonus on saving throws against fear effects for an hour. Taking enough drink prolongs the effect. When used by a monk with the Drunken Master archetype, the mug also restores 1 drunken Kai point and makes the monk's melee. We're totally saving for that. Instead of basic medicine, essential for using will treat affliction. Okay. acid flasks. I remember using these in Kingsmaker and being like, yes! Like, oh, sugar lumps. No. Maybe we get another potion of moderate. We'll hold on to that. That could be for our oh dear kind of. There you go. Who are you? The albino slowly takes your measure with his red eyes, and finally with a gentle sigh says, "Game little hawks. Vampire. Are you really a vampire?" Gamel gives you a long look of reproach and then grudgingly answers, "No." How did you end up in the Crusader city? How did anyone end up here? How did you, or them, with a huge hand the tavern keeper gestures at the ragtag group assembled in the room? The world is big, but still, there isn't a place for everyone. People who no longer have a life anywhere else, they end up here. Any news in the city? The albino looks around. There are demons everywhere, and you showed up. Are there any places in the city worth visiting? If you mean places that normal people usually stay well away from, then there's plenty. Like the Pixartian wine cellar. Gemiel's pauses for effect. Like the name of the place alone should make you quiver in fear. Once belonged to the Pidicians trading house. Then King Uravetti came to power in Patax and property started changing hands. Soon after, the seller's shop assistant was found in a ditch. Not all of him, mind, just his head. Numerian gangsters had taken possession of the place. They wanted to sell something stronger than wine on the streets. They ended up on the gallows. Then King Iravetti's number was up, so now the store stands empty and unclaimed. People say that a headless ghost wanders the place at night, moaning ghoulishly. Ooh. I see you're not one for talking. Gimmer gives you a long, mournful look and says nothing. I'll be going. Tavern keeper sees you off with a sort of twitch of the pale eyebrow. We have found a new recipe. Spicy pastry. You found a new recipe to learn. Right-click it in your inventory to memorize it, okay? That is it. Right-click. Copy. I know how to make spiciness. I still haven't found him. I really wanted to find him before we left. And I keep finding more and more people to talk to. I believe that the help is already on the way. The Queen will not let us die. A stout old man with a fuzzy grey beard mumbles a prayer. He looks as tired as everyone else in the tavern, but determination is stamped upon his haggard face. What can I do for you? Show me the scrolls you're selling. Oh, dude. I have like 100 scrolls ready. No, I don't want to speak to him. Who are you? Visibly Rathamus, rector of the local temple of Abadar. The temple is gone, though, and if we snooze here for much longer, the city will be lost as well. Who is that boy with you? This one? Kaido, the shepherd, my apprentice. He's a smart boy, and his faith is strong. He served at Eristil, though there's still something he can learn from an old servant of Abadar. He'll be a great cleric when he gets a little older. And what kind of help can I expect from you? First, I sell scrolls, and I have a lot of them. Something for every emergency. Second, while you're here in the tavern, I can read one for you. Guaranteed no surprises, but you better not go into the city without a cleric. I won't be going there myself. I am too old, and my powers are needed here. Well, then I have to go. May I guide you? Yeah, I've lost. Oh, no, I found him! Lan greets you with a nod. Here for a chat? I've been waiting for you to come and see the strange beast you've taken into your party. I'd like to know more about you. Let me guess, your first question. Can you wear a hat with your one horn? Am I right? You speak common much better than the rest of your tribe. Funny enough, common isn't all that common underground, Lan says, but your observation is correct. I used to live on the surface with my parents for a while and had a chance to learn a couple of things. The language and the fact that every peasant who sees my scaly mug screams, "Demon!" and runs away. I don't know if you're interested, but my mom wasn't from the underground tribe. She was a smuggler, the kind that used the dungeons of Kinabris to secretly move and store goods. One time, two gangs couldn't agree on how to share a prime cut, got into a fight, and the winner threw the losers down the hole, dead and living alike. My dad went to check if the corpses had anything useful on them, and he found a girl from the surface, barely clinging to life, and an incredible feeling sparked between them. Well, maybe the girl just liked men with scales and a cat nose. That might be it. One way or another, he got her back on her feet, and he later left his home caves. She left her smuggling behind, and they began an honest life together. That's a delightful story of how old land came into the world. Next chapter, however, my family and I never stayed in one place for long. We lived sometimes on the surface, sometimes underground. We couldn't find a place to call home. Living in the caves was hard on my mom, and my dad's appearance raised too many questions in Mindev. They're at war against the demons, after all, and in the end, my parents decided to stop making each other miserable and separated. My father and I returned to our tribe. I think the peasants screaming, "Demon!" had something to do with it. Or maybe Dad just couldn't stand life without a rat-tail soup. I wouldn't rule out the possibility. Did you come with me so you could see the surface again? No, that wasn't it. I just don't have that much patience for certain types of creatures. Demons, I mean, if they want to destroy Canabreas, I'll be on the side of the people they're attacking. Lan looks away. Lan, you're my companion, and companions should trust each other. I'm counting on you to give me an honest answer, not excuses. Lan looks ashamed. I guess you're right. I shouldn't have been so evasive. It's just that some things are hard to talk about. My family, for example. My birth, hell, take me, turned out to be the great misfortune for my parents. All because I'm relatively healthy. I'm the best thing that can come from a marriage between a cave-dwelling Mongol and anyone from the surface. A healthy child with the right number of hands and feet, no apparent defects, no missing organs or other problems. They saw hope in me, so risked having more children. They thought it would somehow be alright. A growl edges into Lan's voice. I could have had 4 brothers. First was born 2 years after me and died 3 years later. He didn't have a nose. Nothing even remotely resembling one. He could only breathe through his mouth. Mom and Dad were afraid to take their eyes off him for fear he'd choke and suffocate on something. But in the end, it was his weak heart that killed him. Then there was another pregnancy and birth, and I pretended I was sleeping, but snuck out of my bedroom and listened under the door. All those hours. It was strange, but I never heard the newborn screaming. Mom moaning, yes. The priest praying. Then I dared open the door a little and looked inside, and the priest stood there, very pale. One of them was holding something, a small object that fit in his palm, and he asked, "Do you know what this is?" And the other said, "I think it's a head." Lan stops. Enough, you don't have to keep going if it hurts you. Hell no, I started to tell you and I'll make it to the end. You want to know why I followed you to the surface? Well, here's the reason. Lan pauses, exhales, and continues in a steadier voice. It turned out that this time Mum was expecting triplets. The first of the babies was born in pieces. 2 others didn't have long enough to draw their first breath. About 3 weeks later, my father took me to the caves. He didn't want to leave. I could see it in his face. But I think my mum and he decided it together. The curse my people have carried since the first crusade stood between them. Not to mention the 4 dead babies. Old age was rapidly taking its toll on my father, and after we returned to the cave, he only lived another 4 years. So, if you're asking me why I decided to go up here with you to the surface and join the Crusaders, well, the answer is, I've always wanted to. I was afraid to leave my tribe, but it always haunted me like I'd die in a world where 4 crusades would do nothing to stop the beasts from the abyss, and the number of victims kept growing. I want to change that, or at least try to. And if changing things is too much to ask, then at least get a little revenge. The ones who are behind the world wound owe me a great debt. The lives of 4 brothers, all my mother's tears, my father's broken heart. It's a lot. So much that killing a couple of demons won't do it for me. I want to do something real, and I'm ready to pay the price. Call it my personal crusade, if you like. Lan gives you a slanted grin. I used to think that things would be better if I'd never been born, but now I think I was born for this. To settle the score. Would you like to find your mother? No. The word flies from Lan's mouth faster than an arrow. Then after a pause, he continues, I don't want to meet her. Not because I feel any resentment. It's that she's half-elf. She barely got her first grey hair, and I'll be a ramshackle old man. She's heard enough children. There is no need to make her witness the death of another. I hope you understand. I am very sorry, truly. Man smiles, this time sadly. Well then, I'm very lucky. I met someone who not only helped me choose the right path, but is happy to listen to my whining. Why didn't you go up and join the Crusaders before? I couldn't just abandon my tribe. I'm their best hunter. They'll have much harder without me. But now that the demons have nearly destroyed Canabreus, the caves almost collapsed on our heads. Sitting and waiting it out just wasn't an option anymore. Anyways, I'm more useful up here than I am down there. Plus, the chief let me go, which means my debt to the tribe has been paid. Your parents' love didn't survive hardship, but that doesn't mean the same thing will happen to you. What if you find true love? Someone who won't leave you no matter what? And break my beloved's heart when I die in her arms 5 years later? Oh, seems one of my companions is attracted to me? That's a fine thing to do. To the person you love. Then again, there's a chance I'll inspire some tragic bard to write a tearful ballad. Thanks for sharing, Lan. Thanks for listening. Mongrels have a short lifespan, but you don't look like you're getting old or dying. How old are you? Lan chuckles. I'm as old as I look. No surprises there, but remember Sol? He's 10 years older than me. I remember him back when he was a fearless warrior, and day by day I watched him turn into this old man. Him and my father. It happened very quickly. First you miss a shot because you don't see the target as clearly as you used to. You think it's because your eyes are tired. You tell yourself it'll be better tomorrow. Then you notice you're having trouble breathing. Then climbing is harder than before. Lan clenches and unclenches his human fist. Your fingers stop bending. You have to tie your sword to your hand. You can't even put on your greaves without help. And when you're washing your face in the streams, sometimes you catch a sight of a grey hair, wrinkled old man you don't recognize. And this goes on until one day you come across a cave beast and you realize you can't outrun it. Lan takes a breath. My dad kept diaries marking all the signs, and I saw it too. Last year, I had to help him get out of bed, help him dress, remind him to eat. Sometimes he forgot my name. I told him that we should have stayed on the surface, and he joked that dodging a goddess was behavior unworthy of a crusader. He meant Farasama. Every morning, I wake up and I check how I feel, but there are no signs yet. Even so, I know I don't have much time. I need to do something useful before I forget why I came here. I want to talk about Wendorg. Are you sure? Lan sighs. Alright. Tell me about your connection to Wendorg. A connection? I mean, where do I start? Lan turns an unexpressive reptile half of his face to you. We grew up together, trained together. She was the chief's daughter. She was groomed to be the best of best all her life, and then I came along, and we were rivals, but we dragged each other out of our tight spots too. I've always been drawn to the grand heroic gestures, and sometimes idiotic ones, whereas Wendu liked to roam unexplored passages, finding new caves and making maps. She wanted to be a great huntress, the one who'd make it through the shield maze, but instead she... Nan shakes his head. It'd be better if she died. The death of a friend is painful, but watching a friend become a shadow of their former self is unbearable. She doesn't think she's a shadow of her former self. Well, of course, she thinks she did everything right, because the second she starts to doubt herself, she'll have to face the truth, to admit that she's just a cannibal that demons use as they wish. Lan's frown looks almost like a wince. She wants to get stronger and stronger, but what for? I'll never understand what drives her. Were you just friends, or were you more than that? Wow, you really don't pull your punches, do you? Lan excels. There was a time when I asked myself the same question. Wendorg knew me better than anyone. She understood me better than anyone. She was my first woman. But we never loved each other. Maybe I could have grown to love her, but it was always seemed like she never understood what love was. Maybe she just wasn't capable of those kind of feelings. I want to say, I don't want to jump in. I'm not jumping into really. I guess there's nothing else to say about that. No argument from me. Thanks. I found out everything I wanted to know. So, can you wear a hat with the one horn? Sure I can, but certain designs don't suit me too well. Lan speaks in a deadly serious voice. I found out everything I wanted to know, thank you. I already know about these people. What do you think of the life on the surface? It must be very different from the life underground. Of course, as far as the living conditions, the surface is definitely a better place to be. It's easier to get good food and water, not to mention build a house and even grow a few things. In older, well-established settlements, you don't have to deal with anything scarier than rats, or maybe foxes stealing chickens. And as for the kind of life you have, I heard a story about demon worshippers abducting a whole family and sacrificing them one by one while the others watched. But there were some brave crusader knights nearby and they killed the villains and saved everyone. And I heard another story. A young blacksmith lost his arm in a fire, couldn't work to feed his wife and baby. They tried their best and lived from hand to mouth, but they were still destitute. In the end, the desperate blacksmith robbed a traveler one night on the road, and there were some brave crusader knights nearby, and they caught the robber and threw him in prison. Not long after, his wife smothered their baby and hanged herself. Up here, the same person can proudly say he's protecting the innocent from demons and then look at the other way while the same innocent starves just because they were born into a poor family. Queen Galfrey prolonged her life when the Sun Orchid elixirs that cost enough to feed an entire city. Back in our caves, everyone is equally poor, and if one person starves, the whole tribe starves. We don't abandon our own in times of trouble. That's the power of tribe. The laws of the surface are made so that some get everything and the others get nothing. I might just be a naive fool from the caves, but I don't understand how it's possible to have so much more and share so much less. Oh my god, dude. Preach it. Anyway, look who I'm going to. You must know life on the surface much better than I do. I'd never leave a needy person in trouble. I've been given more than most, which means I know more to help, more able to help others. A fitting reply. Don't take my words as a reproach. I like grumbling as much as cracking jokes. Lan is obviously trying to muster a friendly smile, but it's an expression his face doesn't accommodate very naturally. Okay, thank you for your answers. So long. Okay, I think we are ready. Lan fancies me. I'm not sure if I fancy Lan. But we do have a lot to do, and this video has gone long enough, so I will see you in the next video.